Welcome to the Ah'Nue Dae Dauning Podcast, where dawn rises not only upon the day, but upon destiny, where trauma meets truth, where what broke you does not define you, where pain is no longer your long-term investment, but becomes the access point for divine recalibration. I'm your host, Dr. Dawn, and if you're a woman who has endured trauma or any form of crisis, this space is for you. This is a place where grace speaks to what has been wounded and where God begins to reveal a new you. This is not a platform that minimizes your story. This is a platform that reframes it. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the broadcast. I invite you to visit milliesmanor.org, and that's MILIESMANOR.org, to explore the A New Life Masterclass portfolio, where you can begin the work of emotional stewardship, identity restoration, and strategic realignment. There you will find foundational episodes designed to help you register, recalibrate, and begin your A New Life journey. Today, I present to you an 8-part transformative grounded series entitled The Beatitudes, the Bough of Your Breakthrough. The Beatitudes taken from Matthew 5:3-12, and I'll read them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The Beatitudes are not merely blessings, they are developmental states of the soul. Each one represents a branching point of transformation, a place where internal posture produces external manifestation. The word bough refers to a main branch of a tree, structurally supportive, life-carrying, and fruit-bearing. In this context, it functions as a metaphor for spiritual reformation. Now, some key points. Your breakthrough is not random. It grows from something rooted. Each beatitude is a bough, a structural extension of kingdom identity. As these boughs mature, they carry the weight of fruit, peace, authority, restoration, clarity. Trauma, crisis, or adversity does not disqualify the tree. It often deepens the root system that supports stronger branches. In therapeutic language, this parallels regulated development through adversity, where internal restructuring, that is your beliefs, identity, emotional processing, produces outward stability and function. The Beatitudes become a framework for regulated spiritual and emotional alignment, rather than passive blessings. In essence, your breakthrough is not an event, it is something you grow into. Breakthrough is cultivated through alignment, not assessed through urgency. Each beatitude becomes a formational construct, a distinct internal condition that regulates how you interpret adversity, process emotional disruption, respond to pressure, and ultimately produce outcomes. The focus is not on the blessing itself, but on the state of being that sustains the blessing. Now, there are a couple of points here to make that is multi-layered, which will be our core focus. Number 1, identity formation under pressure. The Beatitudes outline who a person becomes in conditions of tension. The poor in spirit, humility and dependency regulation. Those who mourn, emotional processing without fragmentation. The meek, composed strength, not suppression. This reframes hardship from interruption to incubation. Number 2, trauma-induced dysregulation, kingdom regulation. The series will address how trauma or crisis can distort perception, that's a threat sensitivity, hypervigilance, emotional responses, shutdown or reactivity, identity, which is shame or fragmentation. Each beatitude functions as a regulating mechanism, restoring emotional range, stabilizing internal narratives, and reorienting the nervous system towards safety, trust, and authority. Number 3, spiritual architecture for sustainable breakthrough. The bough metaphor is structural. You are not building moments, you're building capacity. Each beatitude increases weight-bearing ability, expands resilience bandwidth, and supports long-term fruit. That is your peace, your clarity, your authority, and restoration. This is about sustainability, not temporary relief. Number 4, process over performance. The focus disrupts outcome-driven thinking. Instead of, how do I get a breakthrough? It reframes to what must be formed in me to carry what I'm asking for. This shifts you from striving to structured becoming. And number 5, alignment between inner world and external outcomes. The Beatitudes become a diagnostic tool. Where there is instability externally, there's often misalignment internally. I'll repeat that. Where there is instability externally, there is often misalignment internally. Where there is alignment internally, breakthrough becomes a byproduct, not a pursuit. Now, this series is a formational journey that teaches you how to develop the internal structure necessary to sustain external breakthrough. Using the Beatitudes as a blueprint for emotional regulation, identity restoration, and spiritual authority. And our scriptural foundation from the Beatitudes, again taken from Matthew 5, 1 through 12. The Beatitudes are not sentimental sayings. They are divine diagnostics. In other words, when Jesus opens the Sermon on the Mount, he does not address the self-sufficient. He speaks directly to the disrupted. He names the poor in spirit, the mourners, the meek, those who hunger and thirst, the persecuted. These are not random categories. They are trauma-informed kingdom language. Now, for women whose lives have been shaped by violence or coercion, or by emotional abandonment or physical harm, these verses do not romanticize suffering, they reinterpret it. Each beatitude identifies a wound and then reveals a reward. Each one names a fracture and then speaks restoration over it. Where the world has labeled you damaged, heaven identifies you as positioned. I'll repeat that. Where the world has labeled you damaged, heaven identifies you as positioned. Where systems have silenced you, the kingdom calls you authorized. Now, many women who have endured abuse operate from survival physiology, hypervigilance, emotional constriction, dissociation, self-protection. Clinically, we understand trauma as a disruption to safety, attachment, and internal coherence. Spiritually, we understand trauma as a point of attempted identity theft. But the Beatitudes reveal something revolutionary. The kingdom rests upon those who are honest about their need. Blessed are the poor in spirit, not cursed, not defective, blessed. Blessed are those who mourn. Grief is not weakness, it is evidence of depth. Blessed are the meek. Meekness is not passivity, it is regulated strength under restraint. Jesus reframes what was weaponized against you. The tears you shed in secrecy were not wasted. The nights you survived were not invisible. The bruises, physical, emotional, spiritual, do not disqualify you from authority. They refine you for it. Now, this series restores dignity to what was diminished and authority to what was silenced. We will walk through each beatitude not as a poetic passage, but as a blueprint, a structured pathway, a divine recovery model. From survival into sovereignty, from fragmentation into formation, from bruise into blessing. You are not blessed because of what happened to you. You are blessed because heaven meets you in it. And what the enemy intended to fracture your identity, the kingdom uses to fortify your authority. I'll say that again. And what the enemy intended to fracture your identity, the kingdom uses to fortify your authority. If you've ever questioned whether your story still has weight, if you've ever wondered whether God could still entrust you with influence, if you've ever felt spiritually disoriented after trauma, this series is your recalibration. And so over the next episodes, we will examine poverty of spirit as humility, not humiliation, mourning as metabolized grief, meekness as anchored power, hunger and thirst as holy desire, mercy as trauma-informed compassion, purity of heart as internal integration, peacemaking as boundary-led reconciliation, and persecution as confirmation, not cancellation, of your kingdom alignment. You are not merely surviving, you are being positioned, and your restoration is not accidental. And so as we conclude this introduction to the Beatitudes, the Bough of Your Breakthrough, I pray your heart has been awakened to a profound truth. Your story is not defined by what happened to you, but by what God is restoring through you. This journey has only begun. I invite you to join me for episode 1, Blessed Are the Poor in Spirit, where we would discover how surrender is not a sign of weakness, but the very doorway into kingdom strength, healing, and restoration. Until then, I encourage you to visit milliesmanor.org, and that's MILIESMANOR.org, to learn more about my New Life Masterclass portfolio, where you will find additional resources designed to help you cultivate emotional resilience, restore your identity, and walk confidently in your God-given purpose. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. This is Dr. Dawn signing off, where Dawn not only rises, she breaks chains. Until next time, may the grace, peace, and restoration of Yeshua HaMashiach be with you always.